I sit here at the end of the day feeling each time that it is the end of days. And it's funny because it feels like when I finally get that moment to rest, to myself, that the first place my mind goes is you. For that matter, it's not even just at the end of the day when I finally fight off all the karmic manifestations that I'm disentangling myself from and get a moment of well earned peace. It seems like it's any moment in the day when I feel at peace. That's when it's not even like my heart seeks you, it's like you are already there. You are always there. It's like the spaces in between the notes and in between the words in all our favorite songs, where, except for in those silences, is not silence, at least not in my mind and not in my heart. What's there is you, my thoughts of you. It's like they say that if you want to know where your heart is, look where your mind wanders when you're not thinking of anything at all, where it wanders when, most often at least. In feminine, I find myself sitting here and I feel like there's a kind of a strange sort of vision that you are, I don't even know how to put it, constantly interrupting my thoughts. You know, I remember teasing you so many times, and even sometimes being hurtful about the way that you talked so much when you were with me. And it's funny because I miss it more, not more than anything, but more than most things. And I regret saying that I know I gave you the impression that I would likely never miss it, though I knew even when I was being a jerk and said I didn't like it that I would miss it if it ever went away. I feel like I spent so much time trying to hide from my own shadows that I got so used to hiding in yours. It was so easy to ignore everything I needed to work on within myself by simply triggering something that I knew would set you into a spin. And then that could be the focus. And I never really even realized that I was doing that to you until we separated. And I swear I felt like it was a weird combination of vultures, except for they weren't vultures, they were like flying leeches, like the flying monkeys from Wizard of Oz. And they just descended. And before I knew it, I was drained. I was disoriented, confused. And there was so much of me that, I don't know, I had it in my mind that when somebody loves you, they fight for you. And it was very, you know, I feel like for a time I thought it was romantic. And then what I realized is that it was a distortion. Because by the time that you told me thank you for letting you fight for me. Not long after you told me that you give up. You didn't even say what you give up on officially, but, and I feel feminine like you did that on purpose just to beguile me. to let my mind wander where it would in terms of trying to figure out what you were giving up on. Were you giving up on me? Were you giving up on us? Were you giving up on trying to talk to me? Were you giving up on the drama? Were you giving up smoking? Or some other bad habit I didn't know and I was afraid to ask? And then slowly, it felt so fast at the time, but I see it now. I look back at it and I see that slowly this whole time in separation, I was so wrapped up in everything that I brought in around me, and especially my pride and my fear of what everybody else would think if I did this or I did that. Letting all that guide my decisions and finding myself overindulging in everything you can imagine to try to hide the pain of holding in my truths, my authenticity, and most of all, in trying to convince myself and everyone else that I'm happy where I've been and don't have any feelings for you because feminine, I don't know how you even do it. Just being who you are, it's like it triggers all of the deepest demons in everybody around me. It even triggers some of mine, but I feel like the more you just continue to be yourself and rise up, the more it triggers everybody around me, that it makes me realize more and more that these are not my people. This is not my tribe. This is not my community. These are not, I really, I feel like feminine, you're the only one that I've ever really shown my soft child heart, my squishy side, my childish delight. Masculines are not supposed to have sides like that in the world that I have existed in since growing up, and only being with you have I ever been able to allow myself to even think about thinking about letting myself love me for that part of me. And I feel like because you didn't get wrapped up in fighting for me in the ways that I thought I needed to see in order to know that you really were the one and that this wasn't some crazy trick that you told me to go and grow up and then wanted me to still be yours, for you to still be mine. It felt like a trick. It felt like a trap. Everything before has all been a trick or a trap. Even just somebody being smart or pretending to be smart was used to make me feel inferior. And any gift given was meant to create a string. Any promise made was just to get something else out of me and never meant to be kept, never meant to be kept. And I've always been expected to carry everything on my own and not to ever have to need to ask for anything to be returned or reciprocated. And ever since meeting you, it's felt like everything that I always prayed for in my heart, but because I had been through what I had been through, I could not believe that it could be true. Though I feel like you are the only one who could beguile me in the ways that you have, because just when I thought that you weren't going to fight for me, then I see you do things. You stir me up, you get under my skin, you say things that nobody would dare say to anybody, let alone to me. I, not that I'm all that out there, but you know me. I've had troubles with my temper before, and I wrap myself up with very dramatic, aggressive people. That's part of why I don't, it's part of why I try to keep you away. It's bad enough that I got myself in that position, let alone trying to balance you in it. Half the time I end up taking out my upset feelings with fights with them on you when you didn't do anything to deserve any of that. And I I don't trust myself not to keep doing that so long as I'm around them. But I feel like feminine just, I, I feel like I'm caught between a rock and a hard place, because if I don't give you the attention you so deserve and that I so desire to give you, then you go and find other things to do. And when you find those other things to do, you start glowing up and showing people and talking to people and becoming part of bigger and bigger communities, and you start showing the world what you're made of. And when you do that, everything, it's like a giantess walking across the earth, and she may be walking gracefully and gliding with ease, enjoying the sunshine and the wind, but every one of us earthlings down here beneath the towering giantess, all we feel is the ground rumbling, shaking, and everything stirring as she takes her leisurely walk, covering miles and miles in one simple femininely step. And that feels like the most fascinating and attractive and also frustrating thing to deal with. Because if I let you glow and grow, I should say, as if I could stop you. Though if I try to stay away, you just grow and grow and glow and radiate. And then I feel like everybody compares themselves to you, and then everybody sees how wonderful you are, and it's like when you were hiding who you were, nobody could really see it. It was easy enough for me to hide and say that everything was all on you, because that's what I did with everyone else. And in the circles that I grew up in, you didn't talk about anything except the negative in relationships, and nobody really had achieved much of anything great. So there was no reason for anybody to really be seen. And I never expected in my life that not only would you glow and grow and fly and rise and be so you, but that you would include me in it, in your heart, in your words, in your thoughts, and not in mean-spirited ways like everyone else that I'm used to, that have felt like things have fallen apart with. It feels like you just loving me, just openly, and not dishonestly, not saying that you never get upset, not being like some crazy obsessed person that only ever thinks good things, like being a real human being and showing that through it all, you still find me fascinating, and you still love me, flaws and all, and also that you have no intention to pursue me or try to create any sort of drama. I swear, feminine, the more time goes on, the more I realize how much of the drama I thought that you were creating was either my own creation or was just one of the many karmics suggesting that it was you, because all of them believed that somehow you were just better at doing the same toxic things that they were doing but hiding it or getting away with it somehow. I think, in fact, I know I can see where I got it from, where I got the distrust that genuine unconditional love and spiritual love and real romance and toxicity free relationships could ever exist, because I'm watching it around them, and what's crazy is I can feel within me the energetic match to you. I can't tell you how much it cost me in energy to not follow it, to not pursue thinking about it all day, to fill out journals and notes and texts with the book of all my thoughts about it. And then it's like I don't know, I think you'd call it the ego mind or something like that, that side of me that says, well, there's more of them than there are you, so they must be right. And I feel like the more I have let myself be convinced of that, that the more I've been proven wrong over and over and over again. And there were some pretty convincing times that some things were done that you were blamed for, that I'm not even sure how exactly to tell you about, because I realized that I too, I was cruel to you because I believed that the depth of intimacy it would take to do something to me like they did would have to come from you, from how well you know me, from how deeply I let you in. And I look back and I think about how many things I said and did not do and did not say because I believed that you were capable of those things. And now we have come so far. I've tested you out in so many ways, and trust me, it was never my intention to test you, or for that matter, to trust you. I hate to say that, but that is true. And it wasn't you. I had no intention to trust love, no intention to test love either. I wanted to just give up on it and be done with it, because if I couldn't bring myself to trust a love that felt as good as yours, then for me it felt like a combination of love was just not ever going to be trustworthy for me, and that even if it was, that you deserved far better than somebody like me who had such problems accepting such goodness and being good to such goodness. And then I don't know, feminine. I feel like a part of me wants to say that somehow you found your way past all my labyrinths and mazes and masks and costumes and funhouse mirrors and all the things, and you crawled your way into my heart, though. What I came to realize is you didn't do that. What you did instead was, it was kind of like you were leading me through my own mazes, my own labyrinths, and you led me to my own heart that unfolded like a lotus. And there in the center, where my glowing heart lifts out of the bud, is everything that is you within me. You told me when I left that if I ever needed you, all I needed to do was look within. And I feel like I kind of got it at the time, but I didn't really get it, and I was trying so hard to avoid thinking about any sort of emotions that I really didn't take it in. And more than anything, I was stuck in the worst kind of hubris and stubbornness and ego that I didn't think I'd ever need you. I told myself I never needed you, and the truth was I was afraid that I did need you. And that so many things would go wrong, that the world would fall apart if you weren't right there with me always, the way that you had been for so long before you finally said you were exhausted and that I had to go and learn some things, do some growing. And then we came to that point in time where you finally, it's like you picked up your bag and said, fine, masculine, you don't want to play with me? I'm going to go play by myself. And somehow you bewitched me with that too. And it feels like as time goes on, you've just proven to be more and more amazing. And as truths have been uncovered and towers have fallen, and I've seen the mirror crack at my reflection so many times over and over again, that I am just now really starting to recognize who you are. Not just who you are in terms of how beautiful you are as a person, to your friends, to your family, to yourself, and to me, to spirit. It feels like it feels selfish, but it also feels so right to say that I'm starting to recognize who you are, as in who you that you are mine, and not because you have to be, not because some long ago written contract by spirit, not because you need anything at all from me, simply because you could pick anybody and you pick me. You want me. It's one of the ways that you beguile me. You've so far even told me that you're grateful for all the ways that I've triggered you. You've shown me how you turn pain into pleasure, and you've made it through more hard things than I hope that I ever have to face in my life, especially in such close time frames. You are magic. You are amazing, and I guess I'm still getting over the idea that somebody like you would want anything to do with me. And what's crazy, feminine, is I feel like I feel like something opened up. I don't know what it is. It's almost like a window just cracked open somewhere, and you can't see that it's open, but you can feel the draft. And it feels like it's bringing in a warm breeze and telling me that I am worthy, and that it doesn't matter all these other qualifications, the ways that I've messed up, the lack of achievements, the fact that what I did achieve and thought would be everything meant as little as you said it would to me when I got there. How stuck I've been, just all the things. It feels like the only thing that matters is that you want me to be yours and you want to be mine, and that's what makes me worthy. And that I want you to be mine, which is something that's always been true. And feminine, it between the combination of who I'm realizing that you are to the rest of the world and who you are to me and who I am to you, it makes me think about all the ways that I've interacted with you before. I feel like I met royalty and acted like the least reverent and respectful masculine ever. Like I should have been bowing down to you when I met you. I should have recognized who you would become. I should have taken you out on more dates and gotten dressy just for fun. I should have bought you flowers all the time. I should have proposed a long time ago and made a complete fool out of myself and not worried about a thing. I should have never doubted. I should have always believed the best in you. Even when you were at your worst, which is still nothing in comparison to either my own or everyone else I know. It's worst. I should have gone and hugged your mom and your aunts and your uncles and hung out with your dad. I should have invited you to meet my work family and stood up for you with anybody that ever questioned anything. I should have spoken more words of love and gratitude about you and about us and about myself. I don't know, feminine. It's funny to be at this point where I'm looking back at all the things that have happened and all the mistakes that I've made, and it feels like in a strange sort of way, I'm grateful to have been such a jerk, because I guess in a weird way letting myself go into my deepest, darkest places and have acted this way because it was you, because you made the choices that you did, because you chose love, because you lived every practice that you preached to me, and then some, that you proved to me that I am not just lovable, worthy of love to others, but I'm worthy of loving myself. I'm worthy of having healthy boundaries. I'm worthy of not living in a constant circus. I'm worthy of treating myself good. I'm worthy of taking time to have fun just for me. And I'm well, I guess I'm still getting there, but I'll say the words, I'm most definitely worthy of the love of a goddess such as yourself.